Using for me has always been it's just a coping mechanism because I don't know how to react very well to life. I don't know how to react to my emotions, my thoughts. I never really liked the person that I was, so a way for me to cope with being who I was through drugs, heroin especially. So using, outside of all the external consequences of using, jail, being on the streets, burning bridges between family and friends, all of those things. For me, the emotional rock bottoms are always the roughest. Just getting to a point where you don't really want to live anymore, and even in those moments where you just want to give up, and the fact of the matter is, like, I'm still here, so there was obviously some hope there the whole time, but just being in that situation, not wanting to be alive anymore, absolutely hating the person I saw in the mirror. That's always been the roughest part of using for me. When I was getting clean originally, and now, nobody ever told me that life was gonna stop happening just because I'm clean. Nobody ever told me that I was gonna stop running into problems and issues just because I got clean. The difference today is how I choose to react to those things. I'm not so quick to lose my cool. I'm not so quick to revert to, old behaviors and just allowing, my unhealthy behaviors to manifest themselves in drugs or, whatever the case may be, just because I'm having some life issues. I put one foot in front of the other and deal with it. You have a car, you're gonna have car problems. You have a house, you're gonna have house problems. You have a relationship, you're gonna have relationship problems. That's just a part of it. So life doesn't stop happening because I get clean. What does change is how I react to that. Because even using, as much as I didn't like myself or whatever the case may be, I've always had an ego. I've always acted the part of somebody who was confident, but I was never truly confident. I was just, overcompensating for how I truly felt about myself. But, now I definitely have a more pure sense of confidence where my confidence lies in my actions and what I do on a day-to-day basis. I don't need to tell anybody. Since the last video, I was content writing for one company that's kind of a part of another company, and then I got a promotion to actually doing intake, meaning I get on the phone and I talk to people. I talk to people about what's going on. I try to, point them in the right direction as far as, getting help and getting treatment. If I have to get people into, an NA or an AA meeting, I will. If I have to get people into the Salvation Army, I will. I just try to help people, and in doing that, sometimes it can get lost within me just because of the hustle and bustle of work, but, still just being able to have empathy for these people and being able to help them, and really be an open ear for them, I think that's been one of the huge things. It's just, asking people the right questions that's going to allow them to open up to me, a complete stranger over the phone, and, they often have a lot of toxic stuff going on, of course. So, just being able to be an ear for them to talk to, and that ear being someone that's been there, has experienced, very similar emotions and life circumstances. So, for me, that it kind of helps me in my personal program to, be able to help people in that way. Just because you get clean doesn't mean you automatically, recover from wreckage of your past and that, all of these unhealthy emotions that you've had, these intense emotions going, and they're still gonna happen. So, a part of just, my personal thing is right now, is to really examine my relationships and what are my motives, because it's really easy for me as a drug addict to have very, very shady motives, so it's important for me to keep those in check. There are days when the only thing keeping me clean is just not wanting to go back to the way I was living, and there are days when it's a little bit more evolved than that. It's not just me not wanting to go back to the way I was living. It's more, I want to be clean. I want to have, purpose in my life. So, that changes from day to day. For me, something that has been very prevalent for me, like when I am in recovery and when I am clean, is, I tend to gorge myself in work and the gym, and, as somebody that, has a very addictive and obsessive compulsive personality, it's really easy for me to get caught up in all the external things that are going on in life, and not really recognize all the internal things that are going on with me, so but it always comes to a point where once I am able to sit back and breathe and take a look at, assess my situation and what's going on with me, something that helps me, keeps me motivated and keeps me grounded is, not making excuses for anything, taking personal responsibility for my actions, working, pressing forward, no longer having to justify and rationalize my actions, and no longer having to point blame at other people, and taking a look at myself in the mirror. If my life isn't going the way I want it to go, it's my fault. It's nobody else's fault, and being in control of that, no longer succumbing to a bag of dope. I am in control of what's going on in my life, and I can take full responsibility for everything. I don't make excuses. I press forward. Chances are that if you're taking your drug addiction to the level it's at, chances are the drugs have very little to do with it. You're just coping with the person that you think you are, and the thing is, if I feel like I'm nothing more than a piece of shit scumbag, well, I'm going to act in accordance with that belief. But if I believe that, I'm more than that, if I set the bar higher for myself, if I believe that I'm worth living a life outside of what I was doing, then I'm going to act in accordance to that belief as well. So and when you're stuck in the middle of it, when it's very hard to see it when you're stuck there, when you're under the influence, it's really hard to believe that you do have a life worth living, and that you're not the person that you keep telling yourself you are. It's very difficult to see that, but if you can get help and get clean and give yourself the opportunity to recognize your assets and your value and who you truly are, good things are going to happen.